Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're covering Parsnips 101, the basics. And as usual, I do have some notes in front of me. I have a lot of things to say about parsnips, but you don't need to worry about copying anything down. There's a link in the description box below where you can go straight to the notes and use them as you need to for your personal benefit. About parsnips. Parsnips are a root vegetable and they're native to Eurasia. They're closely related to carrots and also parsley, and evidence has shown that they've been used since ancient times. So parsnips have been around for a long time. They look like cream-colored carrots, but they are not carrots. They are a separate plant from carrots, even though they are cousins. If you should decide to grow parsnips in your garden, please know that the leaves, the stems, the flowers are not edible. The only thing in this plant that is edible is the root itself, okay? So you do not want to eat the other portion of the plant. Now, parsnips do have a high sugar content, and it was known in the 16th century that Germans used parsnips to make wine and jams and even flour with, and that helped to make their baked goods sweeter. So that sounds interesting. The flavor is described as being somewhat nutty and earthy. I found when I tried the parsnips that they actually had a little bit of a honey type of undertone to them, especially with the roasted parsnips. So that's my own taste perception on that. But it was a little bit sweet and different than carrots, so very good. Nutrition tidbits. Parsnips are a good source of fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K, even folate and other nutrients, as well as some antioxidants. And their nutritional profile does help to protect our eye health, improve our digestion, our immune function, and it does help to support our overall health, including our heart function. Now, 1 cup of parsnips has about 100 calories, so it has a little bit more calories than some of the other vegetables that we've covered, but not so much that you shouldn't eat them. How to select parsnips. We want to choose those that are small to medium in size. The larger ones tend to have a bit of woodiness to them on the outside and on the core in them as well. So we want to look for parsnips that are pale. The whiter the better. Firm, smooth, well-shaped. We want to avoid ones that are browning or limp or shriveled or blemished or have soft spots in some way. Their parsnip season begins after the first frost. They get sweeter if left in the ground after the first frost. So that's when they usually start harvesting them. So they're in season in the fall and in the winter as well, and that's when you'll get the freshest parsnips. How to store the parsnips. We want to store them in a plastic bag in the refrigerator, just like you would your carrots. And depending upon how old they are, when you buy them, they should be able to keep in the refrigerator for up to 3 weeks. Just depends on how old they are. How to preserve your parsnips. Parsnips can be frozen, and I have instructions in the notes here on how to freeze them. And once frozen properly, they'll keep for 8 to 10 months, somewhere in there. Raw versus cooked parsnips can be eaten raw, but they are more often cooked than raw. How to prepare parsnips. You want to scrub them really well. After all, they are grown in the ground. And you want to peel them with a vegetable peeler, unless they're very, very small, and they'll be more tender. You can probably get away without peeling them as long as you wash them really well. You do want to trim off both ends on them, just to kind of clean them up a little bit. And if the parsnips that you're dealing with are very large, that core that's in there, just like a carrot core, but that core that's in there can be on the tough, woody side. So it may be helpful to cut them lengthwise and then cut them down into strips of some sort, matchsticks, or maybe not quite that small. But if you cut them into sticks and then cook them in whatever way you're going to cook them, it will help that core to soften up. Some websites will suggest that you discard the woody core, but I don't think that's necessary. I think if you just cut them up smaller, cook them however you're going to cook them. I think they'll be just fine. And you can eat them whole if they are on the smaller side. You can slice them, cut them into large chunks. You can dice them or grate them and use them in assorted ways. Cooking and serving methods. Parsnips can be used just like carrots, and they're often interchangeable in carrot recipes. So we can enjoy them raw, shave them thin, add them to salads, or you can boil them, roast them, saute them, steam them, mash them, puree them, add them to soups and stews and casseroles. Just think of how you would use a carrot. You could use a parsnip the same way. In the notes, I have a variety of cooking tips here that can help when you're dealing with parsnips. For one, overcooking parsnips will make them mushy. And so a lot of people will use that property to their advantage and mash them in with mashed potatoes, and that helps the potatoes to be a little bit sweeter than they might have been otherwise. You can cut them into smaller pieces if you're going to saute them with other vegetables, because like carrots, they will take a little bit longer to cook than some other vegetables. So if they're cut smaller, they will cook at about the same rate. Another interesting tip here is that parsnips can brown after being peeled and cut like a potato would. So if you're going to peel it and cut it a little in advance of cooking, then you might want to drop it in a bowl of water. If you really want to, you can add a little lemon juice or even vinegar to it, some sort of an acid like that, and it will help to keep it from turning brown before you cook them. Under that, I have some parsnip serving ideas provided by one of my go-to websites, Produce Made Simple, out of Canada. I invite you to check that website out. They do have some interesting information there. You can try roasted parsnips over a warm quinoa salad. And if you add some walnuts or pecans to it, it will help to bring out that nutty flavor in the parsnips. Parsnips and apples go well together, and you could try using them also in soups and pies and even breads. Imagine that. Grated parsnip works well on a salad. You can add roasted parsnips as a good side dish, and you can even use the leftover ones in any soup you choose. And you can even make healthy chips out of parsnips, and I have a link to that recipe in the notes as well. Herbs and spices that go well with parsnips. There's basil, dill, parsley, sage, thyme, tarragon, maple syrup, brown sugar, I can see that one, nutmeg, ginger, garlic, pepper, honey, remember the honey notes I mentioned, and mustard as well. And other foods that go well with parsnips, carrots of course, apples, potatoes, pears, spinach, chicken, and pork. So this would be something, an interesting new side dish that you can add to your menus. And then I have a variety of recipe links below that. Oven roasted parsnips and carrots, I've seen a lot of reference to that online. Parsnip chips that I mentioned. Maple roasted root vegetables, sounds good. 19 awesome parsnip recipes for mains, sides, and more. That should be a go-to website where you can find all sorts of reference for using parsnips in different ways, okay? 25 ways to use parsnips, another one of those big websites that can help you out if you're trying to figure out what to do with them. Maple orange glazed roasted carrots and parsnips. Carrots and parsnips are often used together, and I don't wonder why. They're close cousins, they look alike, they don't have the same flavor, but they complement each other very, very well. I hope this helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comments section below. And again, you can access these notes directly from the link in the description box. So this is Judi at Judi in the Kitchen. I hope this helps. Have a great day.